Sparking Zero is finally fixed. But is it though? Because we just got hit with a massive expansion DLC called Super Limit Breaking Neo. And honestly, the name alone is already telling you something. It's very reminiscent of Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and what that game was. It's basically Sparking Zero relaunching. And the real question I want to answer today is this actually enough to save the game long term? Or are we just getting hyped up for nothing like usual? So first, let me go through everything this DLC is actually adding, because there's a lot to cover. And after that, I'm going to get into what the game still needs, because trust me, there's still stuff missing. Let's get into it. Starting with the biggest addition, over 30 new characters. And not random filler picks either, they're actually going deep. The developers have clearly finally understood that a game needs real content to stay alive. And the heart of Sparking Zero has always been its roster. And what makes this exciting is that the original Dragon Ball series is finally properly returning. We're talking characters that weren't in the newer animated productions after the Tenkaichi series. And honestly, this already feels like Bandai quietly admitting that the base game launched a little too safe with who they included. Like, they played it way too conservative at launch, and now they're going back and actually giving fans what they wanted from day one. Alongside the characters, customization is getting a massive upgrade too. Over 20 new customization elements, outfits, techniques, loadouts, basically giving you actual freedom to build your own fighting style instead of just picking a preset and calling it a day. And this is such an important addition because together with the roster, this was genuinely one of the biggest things missing from the base game. Sparking Zero at launch had the foundation of something incredible. But it always felt like it needed that extra layer of player identity. Like you could fight, but it never really felt like your fighter. This update is finally trying to push it in that direction, and I'm genuinely happy about it. Now arenas. 4 new stages plus 1 variant. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the weakest part of the DLC for me. Because fans have been asking for more stages since launch. And seeing only 4 when you know there are cut stages sitting in the game files already. It's a little disappointing. The potential is clearly there. The cut content is clearly there. So seeing Bandai add only a handful feels like they're still holding back just a little bit, and I don't fully understand why. That said, the Broly movie-inspired icy stage they added is actually peak. Like genuinely one of the best looking stages in the game. And honestly, I was surprised they didn't include it at launch, considering how much the Broly movie influenced the entire visual identity of Sparking Zero from the beginning. So that addition alone adds a lot of personality to the map roster. But here's another criticism I have to make about the stages: the destructibility. Because I love destructibility in Dragon Ball games, that's like a core part of the experience. But starting with the Daima stage, they've become way too fragile. Like everything breaks within seconds, and instead of feeling like a chaotic Dragon Ball battlefield, it starts feeling like you're smashing a toy set. It loses impact really fast. And from the footage of the new stages in this DLC, they seem to have that same issue. That needs to be addressed because when destruction works properly in this game, it feels incredible. But right now it's just a bit too much too fast. Now let's talk about what might actually be the most important addition in this entire DLC. The new solo progression mode. It's called Limit Breaker Journey in some regions, and Limit Breaker Path in others, but the concept is the same. You pick a character, you progress across a map filled with battles and events, you earn rewards and experience, you develop that character over time, even increasing their aura. And the growth doesn't stay locked in that mode either. Your powered up characters can be used in player match and offline versus too. And I'm not gonna lie, this is exactly the kind of system Sparking Zero needed from the very beginning. Because as hype as the combat is, the game always had this problem where it was just jump in, fight, leave, and there was nothing really pulling you back for the long-term offline experience. This new mode is genuinely trying to fix that loop and give players a reason to keep coming back. And it feels like a rework of the Sim Dragon mode from earlier entries, which is such a good direction to go. On top of that, we're getting Chain Blast, where you can chain an ally's special move into a combo right when they come in, and Sparking Boost, which enhances Sparking mode even further. And these additions are where it starts feeling like the devs aren't just adding content anymore. They're actually rebuilding systems that should have been deeper from day one. And that's a different energy than a normal DLC. That's a relaunch energy. And okay, I have to mention this because it's actually kind of funny to me. I made a video months ago asking for basically these exact improvements. Mission 100, survival mode, deeper progression, expanded mechanics. I laid all of that out and some people called me delusional. I was asking for too much. And then this DLC drops with basically everything I asked for added. Mission 100 is in. Survival mode is in. Deeper single player progression is in. So yeah, not delusional apparently. And on top of that, Globku reacted to my video and made a video on it. If you don't know Globku, he's someone I've been watching myself for a long time. His Fightersy guides genuinely helped me out a lot. So seeing him actually react to my video was honestly a dream come true moment for real. I hope he reacts to this one too, because that would just be crazy. But okay, even with all of this, even with how genuinely good this DLC looks, Sparking Zero still has problems that need to be fixed if it wants to reach Budokai Tenkaichi 3-level legacy status. And I'm not talking small stuff either. First, and most important, crossplay. Bandai, you have to add this. Almost every online game has crossplay at this point, so why not Sparking Zero? Without it, the player base is going to slowly split between platforms, and that kills the online scene long term. There is genuinely no excuse for this not being in the game already. Second, I want the maps to actually blow up, like in the Tenkaichi games. I want planets getting destroyed mid-fight. Sparking Zero does have some of this, but it's basically only Planet Namek that gets that treatment. That needs to be expanded to most of the stages, because environmental destruction is literally part of what makes Dragon Ball combat feel real and alive. Without it, fights lose a huge chunk of their identity. Third, impact. And this one is important. Right now, Sparking Zero's combat impact is honestly lackluster compared to Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Super attacks, ultimates, basic combat. It doesn't hit with the same weight. The game needs a major overhaul for impact across the board. Visually, a lot of attacks look insane, but they don't feel insane, and that gap needs to close. Fourth, movement. And look, the movement in this game is already really good, I'll give it that. But it's way too taxing on ki. Like a basic dash takes way more than it should, and that slows down the flow of fights in a way that feels off. It needs to be touched up and made a bit more fluid. Fifth, super counters. Bandai, please nerf these. They are way too broken right now, way too easy to land, and they can completely flip a fight in a way that just feels unfair in certain situations. Make them harder to land like they were in Tenkaichi 3. That balance worked. Just go back to it. And last, some of the character models genuinely need fixing. And look, I get it. Bandai had to build over 200 models, so it was never going to be perfect across the board. But now that the game is out, they have the opportunity to go back and polish the ones that need it most. And the most obvious ones are Kid Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Why is Super Saiyan 3 Goku so skinny? His hair has no depth, his face just looks off to me. It doesn't match how iconic that form is supposed to look. And Kid Goku looks like he's going bald. Just fix his hair. Take some inspiration from Gekishin or Legends because those games nailed it. And while they're at it, give older characters new super attacks and ultimate attacks because it would make those characters so much more exciting and immersive to actually explore in the roster. But putting everything together, this DLC genuinely feels like Sparking Zero's turning point. Not just an update, an actual direction shift. More content, more systems, more player identity, and finally a real sense that this game is trying to become what fans imagined from launch. Neo feels less like a DLC and more like the true relaunch of Sparking Zero. And I rarely say this about modern game updates, but it genuinely feels like Bandai is listening. Like actually listening. And that matters. But here's something I also want to address because it's been bothering me. There are way too many people in this community who are just blindly hating this game, and it's getting toxic. Like, I was scrolling on TikTok and Instagram recently, and a video pops up comparing super attacks and ultimates from Sparking Zero to Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And they were comparing the most cinematic attack from Sparking Zero to a basic beam attack from Tenkaichi 3. And the comments were full of people saying Tenkaichi 3 is better and Sparking Zero is soulless. Like, are we playing the same game? And I get it. Nostalgia is powerful. Tenkaichi 3 is legendary. Nobody is denying that. But this community has a real problem, where anything new that releases gets immediately compared to the old thing and called trash. New thing bad. old thing is gold. And that mindset genuinely doesn't help anyone. Because Sparking Zero isn't perfect, I just spent a whole section telling you exactly what needs to be fixed. But there's a big difference between valid criticism and just blindly hating something without even being able to explain why. Like some people will say, this game is trash, and when you ask them why they can't even give you a real answer, that's not criticism, that's just noise, and it doesn't push the game forward. Constructive feedback is what actually gets things changed, so just be better about it. And the last thing I want to address, people are saying the producer of Sparking Zero lied about the 1 million players every month claim. And honestly, I'm genuinely astonished that people actually believe he lied about that. Because if he did lie at that level, at a corporate level in a public statement, Bandai would have immediately fired him and taken him to court. That is not the kind of thing that just slides. So a lot of that discourse is just internet speculation getting out of hand again. Don't believe everything you see in the comments. Now it's shoutout time, which goes to Net Narrated from the last video, who commented wishing the Super Remake was done in Daima style or Broly movie style. And honestly, yeah, that would have looked absolutely incredible. But if they went that route, the Moro arc would have been delayed way further back, and that would have been a bad trade overall. So, unfortunately, that wasn't the move. But great comment, appreciate you for that. Alright, that's everything. If you enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We are pushing toward 25k, and every sub genuinely counts. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this DLC is actually enough to fix Sparking Zero, or is this just the beginning of what it should have been at launch? Let me know. Until next time, take care, see ya.